Not just a few centuries, not even a few millennia, but 3.2 million years back in time. We're going to the sun-drenched savannas of ancient Africa, the cradle of humanity. This was the world of our distant ancestor, Australopithecus afarensis, famously represented by the fossil Lucy. Imagine a world that is both familiar and alien. The air is warm, the grasses sway in the breeze, and acacia trees dot the landscape. Herds of ancient elephants, giraffes, and antelopes roam freely. It sounds almost idyllic, right? But this beautiful world was also a place of constant, visceral danger. For our small, bipedal ancestors, standing only about 3 to 4 feet tall, every day was a battle for survival. And one of their greatest adversaries was a truly terrifying predator. We're not talking about just any lion. The lions of Lucy's time were potentially even more formidable than the ones we know today, while the exact species they faced are debated. We know the landscape was filled with massive predators, including saber-toothed cats and giant hyenas. But the lion, with its combination of power, speed, and social hunting strategies, would have been a relentless threat. Think about it from Lucy's perspective. You're part of a small family group, foraging for roots, fruits, and maybe the occasional small lizard. Your size is a disadvantage. You can't outrun a lion. You can't overpower a lion. Your teeth and nails are no match for its claws and fangs. Your only advantages are your wits, your ability to cooperate, and you're developing a pride posture, which lets you see over the tall grass. Every rustle in the bushes, every shadow that flickers at the edge of your vision could signal an impending attack. A trip to the waterhole wasn't a casual stroll. It was a calculated risk. The scent of a lion on the wind would send a jolt of pure terror through the entire group. They had to be constantly vigilant, communicating with calls and gestures to warn each other of danger. Fossil evidence paints a grim picture of this reality. Paleoanthropologists have discovered hominin skulls with puncture marks that perfectly match the canine teeth of large felines. These weren't post-mortem scavenging marks. These were kill shots. It tells us, in chilling detail, that our ancestors were very much on the menu. One particular fossil, a child's skull from Tong, South Africa, shows clear evidence of being carried off by a large bird of prey. This illustrates the sheer number of threats they faced from both land and sky. The world was a predator's paradise, and our ancestors were just another potential meal. So how did they survive? It wasn't through brute force. It was through intelligence and social bonds. They learned to read the landscape. They knew which trees offered the quickest escape. Climbing was a life-saving skill. A tall, sturdy tree was the ultimate sanctuary when a pride of lions was on the prowl. They would have had to wait, perhaps for hours, heart pounding, until the coast was clear. They also used their social structure as a defense, their safety in numbers. More eyes and ears meant a better chance of spotting a predator. Before it could launch a surprise ambush, they would have worked together to protect the young and the vulnerable, creating a mobile fortress of vigilance. This constant pressure from predators like lions was a powerful evolutionary driver. It forced our ancestors to become smarter, more cooperative, and more adaptable. This primal fear of the big cat is something that might even be hardwired into our modern brains. Have you ever felt a shiver down your spine when walking alone at night? Or felt an unexplainable sense of being watched? Some scientists argue that these deep-seated anxieties are echoes of the millions of years our ancestors spent trying to avoid becoming a lion's dinner. The struggle against these apex predators shaped our psychology in profound ways. It forced us to develop better communication, to plan, to think ahead. How do we cross this open plain safely? Where can we find food without straying too far from the safety of the trees? These weren't abstract questions. They were daily life or death calculations. The individuals and groups who were best at answering them were the ones who survived, passing their genes and their cleverness down to the next generation. So, the next time you see a lion in a documentary, looking majestic and powerful. Take a moment to reflect. That same power was a terrifying, life-shaping force for our distant relatives. The relationship between our lineage and these great cats is one of the oldest and most dramatic stories on Earth. It's a story of fear, survival, and the relentless pressure that ultimately forged the path towards humanity. The shadow of the lion looms large in our evolutionary history, a constant reminder of the fragile and dangerous world from which we emerged. This constant threat didn't just make our ancestors fearful, it made them innovative. Perhaps they learned to use thrown rocks or sticks not as weapons to kill, but as distractions. A well-aimed rock could startle a stalking lion, giving the group precious seconds to scatter and climb to safety. It's the beginning of tool use. For defense, a critical step in our development. Living under this siege mentality also reinforced the importance of community. An individual Australopithecus stood little chance, but a group, working together, could create a formidable defense. They could mob a predator, shouting and waving their arms, appearing larger and more threatening than they actually were. This us versus them dynamic, born from the need to survive predators, is the very foundation of society. So, as we stand here, 3.2 million years later, in our world of cities and technology, it's humbling to remember Lucy and her kin. They weren't mighty hunters, they were often the hunted. Their daily existence was a high-stakes drama played out on the African savanna, with lions as the lead antagonists. Their legacy isn't one of dominance, but of resilience, intelligence, and the enduring power of community. It was in the face of these terrifying predators that the first sparks of what would become human ingenuity were ignited. Thanks for joining me on this trip back in time. It's a powerful reminder of how far we've come. If you found this journey into our deep past fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the story of us. Let me know in the comments what ancient topic you'd like to dive into next. See you in the next video.